Greetings sailors and welcome back to World of Warships and a very recent NA game. Now I know I had a Chapayev replay not that long ago, and that was an interesting match for a couple of reasons, but it was more about the teamwork in that game than what I was doing. This one is maybe going to be more focused on me, but having said that, teamwork is still very important in this match. There is a division on our team especially that will prove to be crucial in the outcome of this game. So the Chapayev, I mean, I won't go over it too much, but you know, first of the Russian cruisers with radar, 6-inch guns, decent range. I think I've got phj on this captain, probably concealment expert as well. And overall, it's quite a nice ship. It's got a fairly horrendous turning radius, but if you manage to get through to tier 8, you're pretty much used to it by then, because that's just how the Soviet cruisers play. So I ping my radar off at this early juncture. It's Neighbours domination mode, as you can see, and that picks up this Shiratsuyu in the middle. One thing that would be nice for the radar cruisers especially is to be able to have a mini-map radius, a circle that tells you your actual your radar effective range, because at the moment it's pretty much you just have to look at your like surface detection range or whatever and then figure out from there. So in that case I knew that the cap circle would be within my my pickup area, and we were able to disrupt that Shiratsuyu and temporarily scare him off the cap. So I turned back to help with the planes. I think maybe their carrier was going for a carrier strike, but then decided to launch his attack against the Colorado instead when he saw that I was turning around, and that maybe that the Colorado was just in the way, because between my defensive AA and the Colorado's actually, in theory, quite reasonable anti-aircraft armament as well, he maybe thought he wouldn't actually get through to the Hiryu. So we've made that attack an aborted attempt. I mean, I'm guessing it was a strike considering the direction it came from, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just trying to get in the head of the enemy carrier player there and imagine what they were thinking. Which is, I could probably make some joke there about carrier players, tie it into artillery players and model tanks somehow. But that's not necessarily a thing you can do anymore, because artillery's changed so much in tanks these days. And I've always slightly gone to bat for carrier players in that, God, yes, it can be annoying to be on the wrong end of, especially a higher tier carrier, but it requires a lot more thought to play a carrier in warships than it did to play old-style artillery in tanks. Anyway, that was an aside out of nowhere. So I've pinged off the radar again, and I'm not sure it was really necessary this time, because the Shiratsuyu's being lit up by planes there, so that one was just a bit of a waste. But I got the kill on that destroyer nonetheless, so we can now, in theory, contest B, and we've actually got our own destroyer left alive. There was one per team on this game, so keeping our own destroyer and taking out the enemy destroyer is actually quite a big deal. So I was seeing that basically not many of the enemy team had, they'd all congregated between B and A, basically. So I decided to turn north for C and get that cap. And this is slightly awkward in that there is now a split between the north and the south for our team. But in theory, we've got a big enough concentration of forces in the south that it's fine. We do have a Bismarck up here, though, that's a little out of place. He can't really do much from there. There's not a lot of targets available for him to hit. So that's not so good, because that's a top tier battleship that's in the wrong place. But otherwise, it's not looking too bad at the moment. We have lost more ships, but only by one, and we do still have our destroyer left alive. So this North Carolina seems like a decent target, but for some reason I was firing AP. And it's not like AP is a wrong choice against a battleship, but at that range, HE would have been better. Setting fires would have been better. I was still doing some damage, but you were relying on hitting the superstructure with the AP, and at the longer ranges, that's a bit trickier to do. Whereas with HE, of course, you can get that lovely fire damage. So AP on the broadside Alba, and oh well, that'll do it. yes, don't neglect the AP shells on your 6-inch gunned cruisers, especially at the higher tiers. They are quite devastatingly effective at times if you manage to get yourself an enemy broadside cruiser. Hell, even something like the Atlanta, with its many 5-inch guns, can be very, very nasty if it can get a broadside of an enemy cruiser and rack up those citadels. Those add up quickly. So, talking of Atlantas, I know there's one around the corner, and I'm aware he's got torpedoes. This is the only American cruiser over tier 5 that actually has torpedoes. So, although they're short range, I don't want to blunder all the way. I don't want to come steaming full speed around that island in the middle and then suddenly face full of torpedoes. That would be bad. I've got my own torpedoes as well, of course, but they're actually even shorter range than his are. So instead I'm taking a wide turn. He's used his radar already. So I'm going to do it myself in a second just to determine his position. And yes, there he is right behind the island. So if I'd come round, it probably would have been a bit tricky. It's safer to take the wide approach on this one. Now there's a slight risk in that I'm giving a fair amount of broadside myself, but I can turn in relatively quickly even. It actually looks like he's backing out broadside because he doesn't quite know where I am. So this is perfect. Now I had HE loaded assuming that he would be angled, but considering that he isn't, well, definitely onto the AP shells, and we'll see if we can repeat the performance that we got against the Alba. And as you can see, yes, we're doing a fair amount of damage to him very, very quickly. But he's also managed to do a fair amount of damage to me, all things considered. I've lost a good 8,000 or so health, something like that. So I didn't come out of that completely unscathed, but I'm doing all right. However, in the meantime, I don't know if you noticed what's been going on the minimap and with the rest of the team, but basically our entire team in the south died, although they did take a fair few enemy ships with them, so it wasn't a complete massacre, but it's still bad. We are still down on ships, and we are still very badly down on points. However, we've got the mid-cap point, and I'm now capping this. So as long as we don't just lose everybody else, we could maybe do this, but it's a tall order. It really is. This is not looking good. And at this point, I was just thinking, okay, I'm going to get in as much damage as I can because this is not looking too good for us. Now, once again, AP, because I know I'm going to be quite close broadside to this North Carolina. He's completely engaged, his intention is completely engaged by the Bismarck in front of him, so I'm free to just not take any evasive action or whatever, and in fact I can even get all my turrets on target. Now, I probably wasn't aiming very well here. I was trying to go for the upper belt and not really doing it very successfully, so I didn't get a huge amount of damage out of that. And although we have killed him, our Bismarck is perilously low health at this point. It's not going to take a lot to kill him. And once he dies, it'll just be me, the Błyskawica, and the carrier. And that's the division I was talking about at the start of the game, Division B. So what the enemy team has left is a Gneisenau, Colorado, a Straws, a Fiji, and their Saipan. So the battleships in particular, if they've got a lot of hit points, could be very bad news. The Fiji is, well, he's got that smokescreen and nasty torpedoes, and the Straws, well, he is almost as capable as I am because he's got basically the same guns, decent range, and the same horrible maneuverability. And I got a bit lucky with that. That was a single superstructure over pen, and if I can just use this time to get another fire going, that would be quite worthwhile. But as it is, suddenly I noticed, yes, that's the Saipan's planes, and this is the point where I fat-fingered the keyboard and accidentally triggered my final radar. And it has picked up the Fiji, so it's not like it's not picked up something, but it was just in my, like, oh crap, that's planes panic to get the defensive going that, yeah, I ended up doing the thing I didn't want to do. So there's the Straws. We know the Fiji's around the corner, and so I've basically slammed on the brakes to try and prevent myself coming out where I know multiple ships can shoot at me, because that would be a bad thing. At the moment, it's just the Straws, and he's far lower health, so if I can dispose of him before the Fiji comes around the corner, which it looks like he's going to do, that's one less ship to deal with. You always want to try and limit the number of ships firing at you at any one time, especially in this kind of situation. Now, theoretically, the Fiji is within torpedo range if he comes around the corner, but... Oh, can we get it this last? There we go. That's kill number 4, another one, I can get a Kraken. Yeah, if the Fiji comes around the corner, theoretically I could torpedo him, but as you can see, the angles on the launchers aren't really favourable here, so I'm going to be relying on my guns. I've also realised that, yeah, he's going to be coming around broadside, so once again, switch from HE to AP. So the Fiji has taken a bit of damage from our carry, which is very useful. That's less damage I have to do, basically. If I kill him and he doesn't get torpedoes off, that's going to be the Kraken, and there we go, there it is. And that's another couple of Citadels in with that salvo as well, so there we are. Meanwhile, the Błyskawica and the carrier, they've also been doing things to that Gneisen now. I mean, the Błyskawica especially has been doing his best and actually, you know, opening fire, dodging around in the open and trying to stay alive. The Gneisenau got very close to death at one point, but he's managed to get a heal going, so he's back up to about 9,000 hit points. But that still leaves him very vulnerable to my HE fires. So if I can get some fires going on him, and hopefully, you know, I'm also thinking if I can distract him from firing at the extremely low health Błyskawica, so can't afford to lose any more allies at this point, then that'll be a double bonus. So I don't especially want people firing at me, but I'd rather have them firing at me at longer ranges and hopefully missing than just hitting our Błyskawica, because even a single shot, single overpan, whatever, would kill him at this point. So he's got a fire going from the Błyskawica, I think, and oh, hello, there's the Saipan, and I've got a fire going now, so that Gneisenau is now burning, so I'm confident that I can turn my guns away from him and turn my attention to the Saipan, and as a bonus, I actually get the kill. So the Saipan, I'm not sure what he's got left in terms of planes at the moment. One of the things that the Saipan, like one of the balancing factors for the Saipan is that it's got those tier 9 planes, but it doesn't have a lot of replenishments, so it's entirely possible to get deplaned in a Saipan, and I've got 18 air kills myself. I've actually done alright this game. The AA on this isn't as good as the Kutuzov, and it's probably not even as good as something like the New Orleans, but with the defensive AA, of course, you can still do a bit of damage. So as the Saipan is the closer target, I mean, the Colorado is the more dangerous target, but you know, the Saipan's just that much closer, so I'd rather take care of him first than let him sail up the map and potentially have to deal with him later. I mean, we're down to the last less than 3 minutes now, so we're ahead on points. If we can cement this point lead with another kill, that would be great. I think I was trying for more Citadels, by the way, but I think I would have just been better off with HE this entire time against the Saipan. So I really didn't seem to be having any luck with the AP, even when it was broadside. Now he's angling, I'm definitely going to go for HE. So he's got a fire going. He has eaten a torpedo even from our Hiryu, but I don't know if he's flooding. It doesn't look like he's losing health quickly enough. He might be, though. It's a little difficult to tell when he's got multiple fires. Anyway, so another salvo should do it, and why am I using AP rather? I don't know, but it's my fire that actually kills him. So that just leaves the Colorado. Phew, that was kill number 7, by the way. So our Błyskawica, I think I'd say to him in the chat, and this is why I left this bit in sped up. I just said, stay alive. We don't want to lose the points. You know, we've won this. There's no point in dying. And it'd be nice to get this Colorado. It would be really nice, but it's not worth throwing the game away over. I mean, having said that, even if we both died, the Hiryu would be alive, and the Hiryu could probably kill the Colorado on his own, but why take the risk? So this Colorado, I mean, he's been just slowly making his way up from the south for a while now, and it's such a slow ship that It's hard to lay blame on this guy for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, because the Colorado gets caught out so easily. I mean, the US battleships tier 7 and below do anyway, but the Colorado especially, when pretty much all the other battleships for your tier can outpace you, it starts to get a bit annoying. He's low health though. I mean, the Hiryu's had a good drop on him, and so even though there's only a little bit of time left, I've decided to be slightly incautious and angle towards this guy and just say to hell with it, let's see if I can't get a final 8th kill, but I'm very rapidly running out of time to do it. Now, I could show broadside to have all my guns on target, but that would be incredibly risky. I don't want to get deleted, and indeed he does have enough time to actually put a salvo my way, but in the literal last second I get the 8th and final kill, and that wins us the match. So that was that was my best kill game to date. I've never had a better game than that on EU or NA. I think I might have had a better score game, but still 2.9k base XP is pretty damn good. But it's that 8 kills that really stands out. I've never done anything close to that. I think my next closest has literally just been getting Krakens. I don't think I've even had 6 kills in a game before, so to go from 5 kills to 8 kills is a bit of a jump. And it's almost a pity Warships doesn't give you anything for that, because that's basically the Warships equivalent of a Pools medal in World of Tanks, of getting 10 kills. You've killed pretty much the same proportion of the enemy team, just about. In fact, is that a higher proportion? I'm trying to do the maths in my head now, which is always a very dangerous thing. It might even be a higher proportion. 8 out of 12 versus 10 out of 15. Or is that? No, it's still 2/3. No, of course it's still 2/3. Wow, brain. So, yeah, it's the equivalent of a Pools medal, but Warships doesn't give you anything for 8 kills, which is a little bit sad. I kind of think it should do, but anyway. So, yes, that was a rather more exciting game than the previous Chapayev game, and it was a very high XP game, and even though damage-wise, you know, it's alright, 111k, 112k almost is pretty good, but I've certainly had higher damage games in other tier 8 cruisers. I've managed higher than that in the Otago, in the Kutuzov, in the Megami. I don't think I haven't breached that mark in the New Orleans yet though, but I haven't had that ship for that long, and I also don't play it that much, but I think it's also maybe just a slightly less capable ship. So yeah, it was quite a good game, and I think it was just having those 2 division mates alive at the end, or the 2 people that were in a division, the Hiryu and the Błyskawica, who, as I say, they definitely deserve a shout out in this one. So that's Schmoot and Barbara something, because the name cuts off, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, I could not have done that without them. Having them alive at the end there and also doing damage and whatever else was very important. But there were also just enough ships for me to, it was just the right mix. It was the right number of cruisers for me to just delete with broadside AP salvos and coming across their carrier and being able to set fires with the HE. And so, yeah, it's just the Chapayev made it possible. And it is a very nice ship in a lot of ways. And I don't think I would have maybe been able to have quite the same performance with something like a New Orleans or an 8-inch gunned Megami. So anyway, it was a very good game, is what I'm getting at. So hopefully you enjoyed this very good game, and if you did, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can sub to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, stay tuned for more.